Have you ever found yourself in the middle of an intimate moment, everything going smoothly until suddenly your body betrays you? In seconds, what should have been a warm, lasting connection collapses. You're left staring at your partner, embarrassed, while a quiet question eats away at your confidence. What's wrong with me? Now, here's the surprising truth. This isn't rare, and it's not the inevitable punishment of getting older. Yes, many men over 60 face it, but I've also met men in their 40s and even 30s struggling with the same frustration. On the other hand, there are men in their 70s who still enjoy intimacy with steady strength. So if it's not simply age, what's really going on? That's the question we'll dive into today. And more importantly, we'll explore 3 straightforward, natural ways to reclaim control. Methods that don't require risky pills or gimmicks, but do require something more valuable: awareness and action. But before we get into the fixes, we need to pause and look at the bigger picture, because this challenge isn't just physical. It touches self-esteem, relationships, and even the way a man sees his own identity. If you've ever felt like you were losing a part of yourself when performance slipped, you're not alone, and you don't have to stay stuck there. So let's walk through this together. First, I'll help you understand what's really happening inside your body. Then we'll explore how emotions and mindset either support you or sabotage you. And finally, I'll share those 3 fast but powerful techniques that can change your experience, starting the very next time. Stay with me, because by the end, you won't just understand the science, you'll see how real men have turned this around, and how you can too. You've just heard the unsettling truth. Losing firmness during intimacy isn't just about age. But to truly understand what's happening, we need to pause and peel back the layers. Before we talk about solutions, let's slow down and ask, what's really going on inside the body when performance slips? Because until you see the mechanics clearly, it's easy to blame yourself, or worse, to give up. And I don't want you to give up. Step 1. Understanding the real problem. Think of your body as a finely tuned orchestra. The blood vessels are the strings, the nerves are the percussion, and the hormones are the conductor. When everything plays in harmony, the music is strong and steady. But if even one section falls out of rhythm, the entire performance falters. That's what's really happening in those difficult moments. But here's the thing, it's not just the body that feels the effect. When the music stops, the silence that follows is emotional, and that silence can echo far louder than the physical event itself. Step 2. The emotional and relationship toll. When performance slips, shame creeps in. Confidence starts to erode. Some men even begin avoiding intimacy altogether, not because they don't want closeness, but because the fear of failing again feels worse than the risk of trying. And their partners? They're often left wondering quietly, is it me? Has something changed between us? What begins as a physical hiccup can slowly transform into a wall between 2 people who love each other. This is why the conversation can't just stop at describing the problem, because the truth is, once you uncover the hidden cause, solutions become not only possible, they become surprisingly simple. And that's what I want to share with you next. Step 3. Teasing the fixes. In a moment, I'll reveal 3 natural, fast-acting strategies that have helped men of every age, 60, 70, even 80, regain control and confidence. No risky drugs, no empty gimmicks, just straightforward, proven steps. But I don't want you to just hear these fixes. I want you to see them come alive through real stories. Stories of men who once felt hopeless, yet found their strength again. Because when you hear their journeys, you'll realize this: if it worked for them, it can work for you too. Bridge into the main content. So let's begin. First, we'll uncover the real physical cause behind mid-performance struggles.
Then, we'll dive into the emotional cost and how to break free from it. Finally, we'll walk step by step through 3 practical fixes that you can start using immediately. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll share the single most common bedroom mistake that quietly undermines 90% of men, something almost nobody talks about, but everyone should know.
Section 1. Understanding the real problem. So let's step back and really ask, why does an erection sometimes fade in the middle of intimacy? Many men assume it's simply a number on the calendar, the candles on the birthday cake. They think, well, I'm past 60 now, so this is just how it is. But that belief is one of the greatest myths in men's health. I've seen men in their 70s and even 80s perform with confidence, while others in their 40s already struggle. Clearly, the deciding factor isn't just age. The truth is this: erections depend on 3 interconnected systems: blood flow, nerve signals, and hormones. If even one of those systems gets out of sync, performance slips. Think of it like an orchestra. Imagine your body as a grand orchestra. The violins are the blood vessels, surging with melody. The nerves are the percussion, setting the rhythm with precise timing. And the hormones? They're the conductor, guiding every section to play in harmony. When the violins swell, the percussion pounds, and the conductor leads, the symphony is breathtaking. But if the violins weaken or the percussion misses a beat, the music collapses into silence. That silence in the bedroom is the collapse of confidence. A story to illustrate. I once heard about a retired firefighter named Robert. Tough as steel, fearless in front of roaring flames. Yet in the quiet of his bedroom, he admitted he felt powerless. "Doc," he whispered, "I can fight a burning building, but I can't fight this." His problem wasn't that his masculinity had vanished. It wasn't that age had suddenly flipped a switch. It was that subtle changes in his blood vessels, his stress response, his lifestyle were interrupting the symphony. And once he understood that, the solution wasn't about fixing him, it was about tuning the orchestra. The hidden message of the body. When an erection fades, it's easy to take it personally, to feel broken or less of a man. But here's a shift in perspective. What if your body isn't betraying you, but signaling you? It's a gentle alarm saying, "Pay attention, something beneath the surface needs care." Sometimes it's circulation tightening, sometimes hormones dipping, sometimes nerves overloaded with stress. Whatever the cause, the body isn't punishing you, it's inviting you to listen. And this is where things get even more important, because the physical challenge, blood, nerves, hormones, lasts just a few seconds. But the weight it leaves on your heart, your identity, and your relationship can linger for years. So, before we jump into the practical fixes, let's explore the emotional toll, the silent burden many men carry alone, and why addressing that side of the story is just as critical as the science. Section 2. The emotional toll. When an erection fades, the physical event lasts only seconds, but the emotional aftermath, that can linger for months, years, even decades. For many men, the problem doesn't just stay in the body, it moves into the mind. It shifts how they see themselves, how they relate to their partner, and how they carry confidence into the rest of life. The weight of silence. I've met countless men who can't even say the words out loud. They sit in silence, avoiding eye contact, and you can feel the weight pressing down on them. The loss of firmness isn't just about sex, it's about identity. In their minds, it whispers, "You're less of a man." But here's the truth.
that whisper is a lie, yet when it goes unchallenged, it grows louder. John's story, from laughter to withdrawal. Take John, for example. At 67, the first time it happened, he laughed it off. Just a bad night. The second time, he blamed stress. But by the fifth time, he avoided intimacy altogether. Not because he didn't want closeness, but because the fear of failing again felt heavier than the thought of trying. His wife noticed. She didn't complain, but she wondered in silence, is he no longer attracted to me? That unspoken doubt built an invisible wall between them. What began as a physical struggle quickly transformed into an emotional disconnect. The ripple effect on relationships. And that's the part many people overlook. Erectile struggles aren't a solo issue. They ripple outward. Partners may misinterpret the problem, feeling unwanted or rejected. Misunderstandings grow, resentment builds, and what started as a small glitch in the bedroom can snowball into distance at the dinner table, silence during walks, or tension that seeps into daily life. Shadows of shame and depression. There's another layer too, the shadow of depression. When intimacy fades, men often pull away from more than just sex. They stop holding hands, stop smiling, stop reaching out. The man who once laughed loudly with friends or leaned in proudly with their partner begins to retreat into himself. Shame becomes a cage. And yet, none of this has to be permanent, because the problem isn't about worth. It's about biology, stress, and habits. Once you recognize that distinction, the path forward opens. Confidence can return. Closeness can heal. A new perspective. So let me say this clearly. Losing an erection does not mean you are broken. It does not mean your masculinity has expired. What it really means is that your body and mind are asking for attention together. And that brings us to a turning point. Because knowing the toll is only half the battle. The other half is finding practical, doable steps to reclaim strength. So let's shift now from the pain of the problem to the promise of solutions. Starting with the first and most immediate fix, restoring blood flow.
Section 3. Fix number 1. Boosting blood flow. If intimacy is a performance, then blood flow is the fuel. Without enough fuel, the engine sputters, no matter how new or old the car may be. And here's the key. An erection isn't a mystery. It's actually a hydraulic event. Blood rushes in, fills the chambers, and creates firmness. Simple. But if those vessels are stiff, narrow, or struggling, that firmness doesn't hold. Why movement matters. As men age, small blood vessels begin to lose flexibility. Stress, poor sleep, or too much sitting can make them narrower, almost like tiny pipes clogging over time. The result? You may start strong, but lose firmness halfway through. But circulation responds beautifully to movement. Even just a few minutes of light exercise before intimacy primes your body to perform. A brisk walk around the house, marching in place, climbing stairs. Each pumps fresh blood toward your pelvic region. It's like warming up the engine before a race. Breathing as a secret weapon. Now let's add another layer, breathing. Not just any breathing, but controlled, rhythmic breathing that calms your nervous system. The 4-7-8 method works wonders. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This slows down stress signals, relaxes your blood vessels, and lets them expand. When stress drops, circulation flows more freely. Gravity on your side. And then, the simplest trick of all. Lie back with your legs slightly elevated. Gravity itself helps blood collect in the area where you need it most. It's like redirecting water in a garden hose by lowering it.
Suddenly, the flow is stronger where it counts. Stephen's story. From humiliation to hope. Stephen, at 71, described his last experience as his final humiliation. Everything had been going perfectly until suddenly, like a light switch, he lost it. And the harder he tried to focus, the faster it slipped away. But when he learned to combine movement, breathing, and elevation, something shifted. After a few tries, he called with excitement. For the first time in years, I stayed hard the entire time. I felt like myself again. That wasn't just about performance. It was about reclaiming confidence, joy, and the freedom to connect without fear. Why this works? The science is simple, but the impact is powerful. Even light movement and controlled breathing have been shown to increase rigidity by more than 30% in older men. And unlike medications, there are no side effects, no cost, no waiting, just your body, tuned up and ready. Now that we've strengthened circulation, it's time to add the spark that makes erections ignite in the first place: nitric oxide. This natural molecule is your body's own performance booster, and learning how to harness it can be a game changer.
Section 4. Fix number 2. The nitric oxide surge. If blood flow is the fuel, the nitric oxide is the spark that ignites it. Without enough of this remarkable molecule, even good circulation may not be enough. When you were younger, your body produced plenty of nitric oxide automatically, like a fresh battery fully charged. But with age, stress, and poor habits, levels decline. That's why many men can start an erection but find it weaker, shorter, or more difficult to maintain. The kitchen chemistry of desire. Here's the beautiful part. You don't need a pharmacy to restore it. Your kitchen can become your laboratory. Certain foods naturally recharge your nitric oxide levels. Watermelon, rich in citrulline, which your body converts into nitric oxide. A glass of fresh juice in the morning is more than refreshing, it's performance fuel. Leafy greens, spinach, arugula, beet leaves, loaded with natural nitrates that convert directly into nitric oxide. Adding them to dinner gives your vessels flexibility. Dark chocolate, not candy bars, but 85% cacao. Just a square before intimacy can increase blood flow while also elevating mood through natural compounds. These are simple, accessible tools, not exotic supplements, not risky chemicals, just nature's chemistry working with your body. Harold's story, Cower restored in the kitchen. Harold, 65, walked into his doctor's office looking defeated. "Doc, I can get hard, but it doesn't last. It's like the power cuts off halfway through." Tests showed his nitric oxide production had dropped dramatically. Instead of prescribing another pill, his doctor encouraged him to shift his diet: watermelon juice for breakfast, leafy greens with dinner, and a square of dark chocolate in the evening. 2 weeks later, Harold returned smiling. "I thought you were exaggerating, but for the first time in years, I felt powerful again. My wife noticed too." It wasn't magic, it was simply giving his body back the spark it needed. Why this works? Science backs this up. Nitric oxide signals blood vessels to relax and open wide, letting blood rush in and stay. Without it, vessels stiffen. With it, they expand. That's the difference between fading halfway and staying strong all the way. And the best part? Unlike synthetic quick fixes, these foods improve not just performance, but overall health, lowering blood pressure, boosting heart function, and even improving mood. My perspective? What I love about this fix is how empowering it feels. It shifts the solution from outside gimmicks to inside choices. You don't have to depend on prescriptions that mask the problem. You can give your body the fuel it's craving, naturally. But diet and circulation are only part of the puzzle.
Because sometimes, even when your body is ready, your mind isn't. Stress, self-doubt, and worry can pull the plug in seconds. So next, let's explore the third and perhaps most underestimated fix, the mind-body reset, the way your thoughts and emotions can either shut you down or set you free.
Section 5. Fix number 3. The mind-body reset. You can have great circulation, you can eat all the right foods, but if your mind is working against you, none of it will hold. Stress and anxiety are the most silent killers of sexual performance. The body still carries its ancient survival wiring. When it senses threat, it releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol diverts blood away from the penis toward the heart and muscles, as if you were preparing to run from danger. To the body, there's no difference between being chased by a tiger or fearing that you might fail in bed. The result is the same. The erection fades. The cycle of fear. Here's the painful irony. The more you try to perform, the more pressure builds. The harder you focus, the more your body interprets the situation as stressful. And stress is the very thing that kills performance. It becomes a vicious loop, fear leading to failure, and failure reinforcing fear. Paul's story, breaking the cycle. Paul, at 70, loved his partner deeply, but he admitted that he dreaded intimacy, not because of a lack of desire, but because of fear. "The harder I try, the worse it gets," he confessed. We worked on shifting his mindset. Instead of approaching intimacy as a test, he began seeing it as a moment of connection. He practiced a simple squeeze technique too. When he felt firmness slipping, he applied gentle pressure at the base for 10 seconds, holding blood in place until control returned. And, most importantly, he started communicating, whispering affectionate words, laughing with his partner, letting go of performance pressure. A month later, Paul returned with tears in his eyes, not from shame this time, but from joy. "For the first time in years, I wasn't afraid. I felt free, and the moment lasted." The tools for reset. There are 3 tools that help rewire the mind-body connection. 1. Reframe intimacy. Stop treating it like an exam. The goal is connection, not proving anything. 2. Practical intervention. The squeeze technique can reset blood flow and give back control in seconds. 3. Active communication. A smile, a soft word, or laughter with your partner lowers cortisol instantly and brings blood flow back. Why this matters? This is the fix that ties everything together, because without calming the mind, no physical strategy can last. When you're relaxed, blood vessels expand, nitric oxide flows, and the body cooperates instead of shutting down. It's not about being stronger, it's about being freer, releasing the chains of fear so your natural strength can surface. Now we've seen all 3 fixes: circulation, chemistry, and mindset. Each one is powerful alone, but together, they transform everything. So let's step back and look at the bigger picture. How these pieces fit like building blocks to create lasting performance, renewed confidence, and deeper connection. Section 6. The bigger picture. By now, you've seen how each fix works on its own, boosting blood flow with movement and breathing, sparking nitric oxide through foods, and calming the mind with reframing and connection. Each is powerful, but the real transformation comes when you weave them together into a complete system. Think of it like building a house. Picture your intimate life as a home. Circulation lays the foundation, solid and dependable. Nitric oxide raises the walls, giving the house strength and space. And the mind-body reset places the roof, protecting and completing the structure. Without one, the house feels unstable.
But when all three are aligned, you have something built to last, strong, safe, and welcoming. Mark and Linda, rebuilding connection. Mark and his wife Linda, both in their late 60s, had nearly given up on intimacy. Over the years, what once was playful closeness had turned into silence. Mark felt defeated, Linda felt distant. But when Mark began putting the pieces together daily, walks to improve circulation, watermelon and greens to boost nitric oxide, and a mindset shift toward laughter instead of pressure, their story changed. Slowly, intimacy returned. Linda even called the doctor's office one day, not for a prescription, but to say, "Thank you for giving me my husband back." That's the bigger picture. It's not just about erections, it's about restoring connection, laughter, and the joy of being close again. Beyond performance. What makes this so powerful is that it's not limited to the bedroom. When you move your body, eat healthier, and calm your stress, you also lower your blood pressure, improve your energy, and feel more alive in daily life. Confidence seeps back into every corner, your posture, your conversations, your sense of self. In other words, this is about reclaiming vitality, not just sexual performance. My reflection. Too often, men chase quick fixes that promise miracles in minutes but never address the root. Pills may mask the problem, but they don't build confidence, and they don't heal relationships. By contrast, this bigger picture approach builds something sustainable. It doesn't just patch the house, it strengthens the foundation so the whole structure stands firm. So now you know, the problem isn't age, and it isn't hopeless. It's circulation, chemistry, and mindset, all of which you can influence starting today. In the final section, let's tie everything together and close with one powerful reminder. You are not broken, and your best years of connection and confidence can still lie ahead.
As we come to the end of this conversation, let's take a moment to step back and look at the whole picture we've built together. First, we uncovered the truth. Losing an erection mid-intimacy is not a punishment of age. It is not a sign that your masculinity is gone. It is a signal, a whisper from your body that circulation, nerves, or hormones need attention. Then we explored the emotional reality, the shame, the silence, and the weight this problem places not only on men, but also on their partners. We saw how it can turn laughter into avoidance and closeness into distance. But we also saw that this pain doesn't have to define you. And then we walked through 3 powerful fixes. 1, boosting blood flow through movement, breathing, and even gravity. Simple steps that prime the body for firmness. 2, igniting nitric oxide with everyday foods like watermelon, greens, and dark chocolate, giving your vessels the spark they need to open fully. 3, resetting the mind-body connection by reframing intimacy, breaking the cycle of fear, and using communication to lower stress and restore freedom. Finally, we tied them together in the bigger picture, like building a house with a strong foundation, solid walls, and a protective roof. Together, these steps do more than restore performance. They restore confidence, joy, and connection. A final word of hope. Here's what I want you to remember most. You are not broken, you are not too old, and you are not alone. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s rediscover themselves, and every single one of them started by taking one simple step. Your body is ready to respond. It's waiting for you to give it the right signals. When you do, the results can surprise you, not just in the bedroom, but in your energy, your confidence, and your relationships. So, take that first step today. Go for that short walk. Pour that glass of watermelon juice. Whisper something soft to your partner.
Do one small thing that begins to change the story. Because the next chapter of your life doesn't have to be about decline. It can be about renewal, strength, and connection. So, here's my challenge to you. Don't just listen, do. Take one step today. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's a short walk to get the blood moving. Maybe it's choosing greens or watermelon at dinner. Maybe it's simply leaning toward your partner with a smile instead of leaning back with fear. Because small steps create momentum, and momentum brings change. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, a brother, or anyone who needs to hear that they are not broken and that better days are still ahead. And if you want more practical tips to support your health, confidence, and vitality, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. That way, you'll never miss out on another life-changing insight designed for men like you. Your story is not finished. The next chapter is waiting. Start writing it today with strength, with joy, and with connection.